Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Wealth Plan TV. This evening we'll be looking at holes in the ground. I'm sure you'll see how that works. And later we'll be joined by Elias Elia, who will talk to us about how goals are important to the success of his business. We will also be seeing Dale again on the show. Good evening. Welcome to Wealth Plan TV. This evening we're talking about goals. Might seem strange to be standing next to a hole in the ground, but we thought we'd use the analogy of a building and how it's built and what plans are needed to achieve that with building your own financial goals. You can see from a hole in the ground to something that's worthwhile is quite a stretch. It needn't be that big for you in creating your own goals, but we'll see. We're just off to go and see the developer to see if we can get his take on how you turn a hole in the ground into a set of units that are absolutely functional and useful. So this is the way it's going to turn out, Elias. We've just come back from seeing a hole in the ground.
Yes.
Can you tell us how we get a hole in the ground to look
like this?
Yeah.
I guess it's call it a bit of vision and just seeing and knowing the market and trying to deliver something. At the end of the day, they call it a residence or an apartment, and then the creativity is to develop an architectural piece that people can be proud of, saying it's their home or their unit that they're living in.
So all the pre-planning, can we have a look at that?
Yes.
Can you talk us through that?
Yes, I mean, the location is basically got a park at the rear that people weren't noticing. That's why we developed that concept, and it was developing the 1 and 2 bedroom apartment due to the current market trends at the moment.
So there's a lot of detail in the plan. I guess it wouldn't happen unless the plans were so detailed. Can we just go through how you capture a vision on paper so that people can actually produce it?
Well, I guess, as I said, it starts with a bit of idea, and then you have your sit down with your architects and try to develop a form of building on the location, and then look at all the attributes of that location, transport, convenience, etc., and then it's about just coordinating with your consultants to produce.
Can you go through the plans with us and just talk us through how all this planning...
Well, on this development, because we're doing apartments, we have to have a basement. There's 2 levels of sub basements, and then the ground levels, which will show you are basically an orientation of 1 and 2 bedrooms in 2 different buildings. So we created 2 buildings, not 1, so it's just seen as more of a boutique development, and everybody has some sort of identity to their own building, as versus being part of a greater building. Okay. So it has a Mountain Road Boulevard advantage and a rear park advantage. So we believe we've sold out all this project. We're in construction, as you saw, in the basement level, and hopefully it'll be finished by mid-year 2013. And we're just releasing now the final stage of the 5th level. Okay. Just currently, we've only got 8 units left on that.
So we're going to end up with a big building here.
We're going to end up with 2 buildings.
You started with the basement. Can you have a look at those plans?
Yes. Well, we've got the first basement. We come down off the main boulevard, and then we just wrap around to the 2nd basement. So there's 2 basements to encompass the number of units that are applicable to each development.
So these things, of course, have incredibly strong foundations, like a financial plan needs.
Well, I guess if your foundations aren't there, there's not going to hold up the building. So it is important. It takes a bit of time to get that done properly, and then once you've got your base right, the foundations, then you basically all your development will become easier.
This is a nice analogy because we've got the basement, and that's probably where you start financial planning.
Correct.
And if you can talk us through all the levels when we get to the penthouse, we hope that maybe our viewers might be at the penthouse of their financial affairs. Can you talk us through those different layout levels?
Yes. After the 2 basements, we have the ground floor, and basically, as I said, the orientation of the units are facing the rear park, and then one's facing the actual Mount Alexandra Boulevard. As I said, 2 buildings, and then the form of the building is basically, in the next couple of levels, is very similar in terms of from a structural point. So your construction methods and all that are more efficient, and still producing the product that the customers want. So we have level 1 and then level 2.
The floor plans look reasonably similar. Is that the way that buildings normally proceed?
Yes, because we are selling to call it the market that is similar wanting. So they're 1-bedroom type clientele, and there's 2-bedroom clientele.
Okay, that's fine. It's exactly the same with the financial plan as well. That once you get all the hard work done, it's much easier to build. And I guess that's the same with producing a building.
Correct, yes. Yeah. I mean, you go back to the foundations or having your right plan in the beginning, and once you've got the right plan, then you basically can add to it. Yeah, it becomes easier to add, etc. Yeah. And it's similar with the building. Once you've got the ground floor and the basement correct, the rest is easier to add. So that's level 3, which again, they have a natural little setback, but again, they're in a similar format. Yep. And then basically level 4.
Do we have a penthouse with this development?
Yes, in the current drawings, we have a buyer who's decided to consolidate 2 units and create a penthouse. So that's more specific to the buyer. The other buyers is a mix of occupiers and investors at the same time.
So this is in terms of financial advice again, this is the pinnacle. Once you get to the penthouse with park views.
Correct. I mean, yes, as they say, penthouse is on the top. And if you get to the pinnacle, then yeah, you are on top, as everyone aims to reach to that level.
Yes, thank you very much for helping us with this analogy. It seems to me absolutely crazy that people accept that this level of detail is necessary to produce a building.
Yes.
But be surprised that the same level of detail is difficult in creating their life.
Yes.
So, personal goals. Thank you, Elias.
Thank you. Good.